Throne Liberty released a new content updates, and many of the changes are really good because we're getting backgrounds, which I've talked about. We're getting all this housing system. We're getting these new changes, and then they announced Tier 3 gear. Now, just so you guys know, if you guys are watching me and you're complaining in the comments that I'm negative, you don't have to watch me. If you got watch my last Throne Liberty videos, I made a lot of positive videos regarding Throne Liberty. I made videos on how to fix Throne Liberty. I made guides, all the stuff. But when Throne Liberty introduced bad and negative stuff to the game that affects us players, I'm gonna talk about it. I'm not gonna glaze the game no matter what. I'm going to talk about the problems that the game has, which is the tier 3 gear. I think it's super predatory introducing it without expansion or level cap, releasing it next to heroic weapons when people have nothing. They have no materials, no resources. The game isn't giving us anything. It's just a really bad thing to introduce, and I'm going to be talking about it in this video and tell you guys my opinions on it. And again, like I said, there's many content creators out there to just glaze the game. If you're here for like actual takes and actual talking about what the issues with the game is, you can enjoy the video. Now, when it comes to the tier 3 gear, you will need insane amount of materials to upgrade it, which is normal progression in most MMOs, right? You get gear, you try to gear up your character with this new gear. Now, the problem with the tier 3 gear is it's going to cost insane amount of materials. Which materials is this? It's unlock stones, conversion stones, any of these items. But you can bypass this unlock stones and stuff by just buying the trade from the auction house, right? So you can literally just pay to win and not use these currencies. And right now, it would make sense to me if we were getting a lot more materials, we're getting a lot more items, it would make sense. However, everybody knows that right now we have no unlock stones, we have no conversion stones. Everything is used on the new heroic weapons they've introduced, and there's new accessories which is completely useless, just to make sure that people lose materials, right? So they want people to have no materials going into tier 3 epics, which will lead to people having to spend money. And the other thing is, usually a new gear set in any other game comes with some kind of expansion. You either get a level cap, or you get a new map, or you get a new zone. But this game decided that, you know what, we're gonna give you 2 new dungeons, and then we're gonna revamp all the old content, and that just shows. And if it comes to other games, or if you want to use examples from other MMOs, if they're revamping content, if they're reusing content and barely giving you something new, but they're introducing a whole new gear set, it means it's lack of development. They're not investing in new content, and they just want to make sure that they can make as much money as possible because they're using old content, revamping old content, making it sound like, oh my god, look at how exciting this is gonna be. We're gonna go fight old bosses again. You know, we're gonna go fight all the other bosses that we've done before. Oh my god, so exciting. And some of the community just eats it up. It's like, oh my god, that's so hype. No, the whole point of an MMO is we get new content, we get new updates, and then we get new gear. But this, they're just recycling the old content. So it just shows that reusing content, they just want to make sure that they milk players. They want to put money into investing, launching a new dungeon. 2 new dungeons is all we're getting for a full T3 new gear, which is absolutely insane. If you want to use Talandra as an example, right? Talandra came out almost a year ago in Korea, and then they also got T2 gear before Talandre. But for us, a global launch, we got Talandre. It's been over a year. They've had over a year since Korean launch to make sure that they have some kind of map expansion, which they didn't. So we're getting absolutely no content next to the T2 gear. And then we already have heroics to work towards. I would understand in some type of way. I would have understood if they did this with only 2 new dungeons. There was no heroics in the game. They would introduce T3 gear. It could have made sense. I would still be kind of weirded about it. But right now we have heroics we're working towards. Nobody has gotten to 3 heroics. Either you're wearing 1 or 2 heroics right now, and then you barely have them leveled up, but you're using insane amount of materials to level these heroics up, right? Same goes with the new accessories. People that are whaling already bought the new accessories. So what the game figured out is we're making a lot of money on new gear and new weapons. So let's just do it again. Let's introduce even new gear so we can make even more money, right? And then you have the Hyper Boost server, and this is where I think it's really scummy. Because with the Hyper Boost servers, what happens is you introducing these new players, come back to the game, play our new game, check it out. Maybe they're going to do some marketing to it, but it's a new fresh servers where you can catch up, right? You can catch up from what they said in the video. They said you're going to get around 6,000 to 6,500 CP. Now, reality is, even with 6,500 CP, you're not really caught up when it comes to T2 gear, because 7K is where, or 6.9 to or up is where you actually start really catching up in the game, right? Then you can enter nightmare mode. So they're giving everybody this catch up to 6.5K, which is good. And then they're introducing all these new players. Hey, now you got all the catch-up gear. By the way, we have this T3 gear. You guys have no materials because you're new players. You have nothing. So now you're making these new players, right, that have just gotten into the game. You're making them, if they're enjoying the content, pay to get this tier 3 gear. And if you don't pay, you will realize really quickly as one of these new players that this game is scummy. I don't want to play this game. Like, why do I have to pay so much money for this tier 3 gear, which makes absolutely no sense to have, right? And grind towards. And you will realize when you're doing dungeons, when you're doing all the content, you will realize you're getting no materials, because that's what the game does. They want you to spend money on the traits. That's the main priority. And now, not only as a new player do you have tier 3, you have heroic weapons, you have all these accessories that you need to get, heroic gear pieces, you have to upgrade everything. So for Throne of Liberty, this is free money, right? Because in reality, if they're not developing more maps or content, their development costs are not that high, but they're going to make insane amount of money on these new players. So it's a win-win situation for them. But for players, they're going to realize quick that this is not a game that I'm going to play, and a lot of them are going to quit. But those that don't quit are going to wail, and that's good for Throne of Liberty. So instead of giving all these new players a fun introduction to the game, you're going to get them really excited from the hyper boost, and then you can shove this tier 3 gear down the throat. And it's going to be like the same thing. Even if they're not playing on old servers, they're playing on hyper boost servers, they're going to meet these whales with fully traded tier 3 gear, and then they're going to get absolutely smashed. And remember, tier 3 gear will have plus 15. I don't think people understand that. So not only will I have plus 15, because T1 had plus 9, T2 had plus 12, now we'll get plus 15. Do you guys understand what that means? It means most likely they're also going to increase their level of the heroic weapons, because they have to be better than the T3. So we're going to get plus 15 weapons. And tell me, how are you going to upgrade that? You know how expensive it is, how many materials it costs to use plus 12 to plus 13, 14, 15. It's 13. If you go for plus 12, you know, the plus 13 is 12 every single level, 13 every single level, 14 every single level. It's insane amount of materials. So with the game not giving it a lot of materials, it's going to be insanely rough. So really high costs. And now they're adding like battleground system and stuff, which is going to be a rank system. So as a player, if I do battlegrounds, I'm gonna get my ass whooped unless I get this T3 gear and I pay to win for it, right? So it's the whole like spiel of this whole thing is super predatory. I don't like it. And not only that, they made sure that you cannot sync heroic weapons or gear, which again makes no sense to me, because you can only equip one of them. So why can't you sync it? That means you still have to trade the other weapons. So they're just making it more impossible for you to swap gear and swap items. So when people are like saying the game is about progression, that's what MMORPG is. Yes, it is, but in a normal way, not a predatory way. If you introduce a new level cap, you introduce a new map expansion, you can introduce new gear. You don't introduce heroic gear just now, which people are struggling to have materials for, and then you introduce these accessories that you can upgrade for even more, for one extra stat, so people use all their materials so they have nothing, and then you're like, hey, by the way, T3 gear is coming. It's really really scummy, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't like it. Like, don't get me wrong, I will probably play a little bit. I will get the tier 3 gear. It doesn't really matter to me, because at the end of the day, I will do enough to get the gear, but people don't have the time that I have to spend in games, right? Most of you guys don't have materials. most of you guys will struggle. Most of you guys will get blasted in Battlegrounds if you try to do it. Most of you guys will struggle to enter the nightmare mode raids or do it in the first place. And the game is going to force you, because what happens as a player is when you are falling behind, you want to buy stuff. That's what happens. It takes a lot of willpower for you to be like, okay, it's just 200 lucent for the trait. Maybe I just buy a $50 pack. Maybe just buy a $60 pack so I can catch up or play with my friends or try to do all this content and stop getting one tap, right? It's a very bad predatory system, and it's really sad to see that this is how they're going with it. They're most likely going to do it like this. They're going to use tier 3 gear, and then they probably, if they're having a map expansion, they're going to introduce better tier 3 gear, so you have to swap it again. And then they're going to introduce upgraded tier 3 gear, which you can get with a new set bonuses like they did with the accessories. That's what's going to happen. And then from nowhere, they're going to do T4 gear, and after that the game is dead. So I mean, in my opinion, I don't like the tier 3 system. A lot of good changes, don't get me wrong, but this gear system is going to be extremely predatory. You guys don't realize it. Many of you guys are that mad. Wait till the T3 gear drops, and then when you do Battlegrounds or you do any type of content and you get slapped in there, you can come and cry in the comments after, okay? But let me know what you guys think. Thanks to all the channel members. Make sure you guys check out this video right here, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.